I want to break free. Don't we all want to break free? All that and more coming up here on The Morning Jolt. What's up, guys? Mark back here with another video. Welcome back to the Morning Jolt program. Today, I'm going to be talking about adapters. I think adapters at this point is a pretty hot topic with a lot of people because with Canon's new release and Nikon's new release, because they had such a huge, massive lens lineup, you know, going all the way back several decades, it was almost inevitable that they were going to have some sort of an adapter so that their old school DSLR shooters were not going to try and move into the new age of mirrorless cameras and be left behind. There are a lot of guys out there that are dedicated to their old mounts. They're never going to give those things up. You just watch, in about 20 or 30 years, you're going to find all of those lenses in some estate sale because some guy or gal just absolutely wasn't going to give them up. Now, adapters, for the most part, have been an extremely controversial topic for most people, but mirrorless has brought them more and more and more into the forefront because of that very fact. People don't want to give up lenses that they have some sort of an emotional attachment to. Maybe they shot their dead grandmother with that lens, or maybe this was the lens that they shot their firstborn with. And there's a very, very real possibility that that emotional attachment will prevent them from ever giving that lens away. Maybe even the camera that they had the lens mounted onto. And I think that all of those reasons are extremely valid. Just because you want to try out new technology and you want to play with the newest things doesn't mean that you have to give up all of your emotional attachments. And like Freddie Mercury says, I want to break free. With mirrorless becoming more and more popular, with it becoming more and more prevalent, just like several of us had predicted several years ago. Now the DSLR shooters, they're finally starting to come around. They're coming around to the benefits of not only no camera having a mirror box in it any longer and those EVFs. But along with that technology, and because people do have emotional attachments, we're also going to need a few adapters out there. Now, it's not just people that have emotional attachments to their lens collection. It is also the fact that some lenses do have very specific intrinsic value, not only because they're maybe worth a lot or collector's items, or, you know, sometimes they're not made anymore, but also because some lenses do have certain characteristics that people find extremely valuable. And because of that fact, they're not ever going to want to give that lens up, and they're going to want to take it to whatever new system that maybe they have found that they really enjoy. And honestly, I can't say that I blame them. I mean, who wants to, you know, search and search to try and find that perfect lens, and then just when you do, something amazing as far as like camera bodies are concerned comes out, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, what do? I want to play with that so hard, but I don't want to ever give up my lenses. Now, there are plenty of lens adapter manufacturers out there now. There's like K&F Concepts, there's Comlight, Metabones, there's speed boosters, dummy adapters, smart adapters, adapters with autofocus, adapters that are fully manual. There's quite literally an adapter for just about any purpose, just about any need. But adapters, I want to speak on the grander whole of the subject. Adapters equal freedom. Arguments that I've always seen against adapters is that they're slow, they don't make any sense, you lose autofocus, you lose metadata, you lose all of these other things, but in the end, I don't know that that necessarily matters. Now, to some of you, you're going to be like, but Mark, you know, there's going to be vignetting, or there's going to be, you know, out of focus areas around the edges. If you are a landscape photographer, I can 110% agree that maybe adapters aren't always going to be the right choice for you. But for you portrait photographers, for those of you that actually just care about the center, if you're a video shooter and you mainly just care about the center of the frame, these issues are pretty much going to be non-existent. Video shooters have been using adapted lenses as far back as I can remember, which is pretty far because I'm starting to get up there in age. But I do think that adapters are getting better and better and better. Look, I know that I bag on the Chinese market quite a bit, and I apologize just a little bit because some things you all do get extremely correct. It's not always the most well-built, and I think that if you're actually serious about, you know, maintaining a business in this type of worldwide economic landscape, you're going to have to make better products, you're going to have to improve your manufacturing process, and that Q&A is going to have to come up quite a bit in order to be sustained. And if you can't sustain, then, you know, you probably just don't care. You probably just set up another company and move on. Look, man, I'm just trying to tell the truth here, okay? But lens adapters equal freedom. To make any type of combination of lens camera combo. Maybe you really like the subtle characteristics of your Summicron lens and you really enjoy the processing of, say, like the Fuji X-T2. Well, they make an adapter just for you. So then you have to ask yourself, what are my trade-offs? What am I going to have to give up? What am I going to lose? Probably something, probably multiple things, sometimes nothing. But here are the facts. The lens adapters are getting better and better and better. Most of them are figuring out how to pass on autofocus data, metadata, aperture data. So you do have choices. You do have options. And freedom basically empowers us to say, you know what, proprietary, to hell with that. I mean, what, you got a Nikon, you got a Canon that wants to charge you $400 for an adapter? The rip-off Chinese market is absolutely a beautiful feat of free market. It really is just absolutely amazing. Now, granted, I know it's not super free. I know that most of that stuff is made in Chinese labor camps. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I would like to say that I do, but I don't. All I care about is I want to put my stuff on whatever else camera body that I want. On a moral standpoint, I mean, I'm upset that, you know, they have to make my lens adapters for 22 cents a day. But at the exact same time, I'm selfish. And I want my particular lens to go on my particular camera choice. But Chinese labor camp politics aside, it's about freedom. Freedom! At least for us, it's about freedom. Freedom! I think that this is probably one of the most intriguing, most exciting times to be into cameras or video cameras or any type of imagery that you would want to create, that you would want to produce, that you would want to capture. You really have more options now than you ever did. A lot of people are going to argue that native glass is the only way to go for your camera. And for those people that don't want to be hassled, for those people that just want to take pictures and move on with their life, you're right. It really is. It is the best solution for you. But for those that are tinkering photographers, for those of you that like to mess about, that like to experiment, that like to try new things, put different lenses and camera combinations together and just kind of see what pops out. Messing with old vintage lenses? Great. Messing with brand new lenses with the utmost in image quality coatings and technology? Hey, you can do that too. Dumping all these little extra components into the mix and just kind of seeing what comes out of the chemistry pot. I think that's exciting. And you've also got other camera companies like Lens Baby and who's that other one? I don't know. I can't pronounce half those Chinese lens names. I'm sorry. Metacon, Naga.
Not gonna work here anymore anyway.
But I think being able to take a bunch of different components that were never ever meant to be together, and then this one little small piece of metal being able to sandwich those two unrelated pieces of gear together in order to create something greater than the sum of its parts, I think that's absolutely amazing. It frees us as creative people. Now, granted, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be always ideal. It's not always going to work out exactly the way you want. If you are a run and gun shooter, if you just want to get down the road, get your shots, get the hell out, then probably stick with native glass. But for those of you that have patience, that have time to really kind of tinker around with your particular lens camera combinations, I think it's worth not only your time, but the investment in experimentation that's genuinely going to drive your photography to that next level. If you want to expand beyond what is just possible with native glass, I think that something new in your court, buying a simple adapter and finding some weird, crazy little lens off eBay, or finding some quirky, messed up, broken lens from your local used camera store. I think that if you're the type of person that likes to experiment, likes to play around, adapters of all stripes, of all manufacturers, combining all of those things and actually giving yourself the opportunity to try something new and different, there's a really good chance that you just might discover the true love, the true art, the true patience that it took to be a photographer. A lot of us have lost that. A lot of us have completely forgone what it means to actually, I'm I'm going to pick this lens at this time of day, use these particular settings on this particular camera body at this particular location, and have to write all that stuff down. Most photographers back in the day, they used to have to carry notebooks. They had to notate all that stuff. There was no such thing as metadata. There was no such thing as GPS location inside the camera body. So while I am not encouraging anyone to go through that amount of headache, but if you are the experimenting type, if you want to reconnect potentially with some of your forefathers in the photography field, I think that this could be something that you could get into. The lowly, shitty little adapter that you would buy for $15. That, my friends, is a ticket to freedom. Alright guys, so that's all I've got for you all today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and if you did, don't forget to thumbs up this video, and if you really loved it, go ahead and consider subscribing. At any rate, thanks again for watching yet another Morning Jolt episode here on the Photo Video Show. I'm your host, Mark Puckett, and I'm going to see you guys again on the next one.